Ajá. Ready, Colin? Okay. It is 5:15, and we're going to call the meeting to order. I will do a roll call. I see Tuan.
Here.
And Michael.
Here.
And welcome, Sir Watt. Thank you. And Miles Durfee's here, and Geronimo is not here at this moment. Okay. And next, we're going to go to the approval of the agenda.
A motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That carries 4-0. And then we're going to go to the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Josue, you're going to help us tonight? Fifth grader from Condor, right? Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Josue. Okay, so we have public comment, and we need to check and make sure that all of our schools are online. I think that they are. I know they were testing earlier, but let's go ahead and do public comment.
We do not have any public comments here in person today. I will check if there are any public comments on our school sites. Vista Charter Middle School, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Horizon Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comment.
Palm Lane Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Meridian Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Lago Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
That concludes the public comments.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, we are now moving to the consent items. We have 2.1 through 2.4 up for consent, and I will take a motion if there's a motion.
A motion. Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, or any discussion on the consent at all? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Now we're moving on to the superintendent's report. So, Dr. Felch.
All right. Thank you very much for getting the slides up. Happy March. I know for myself, I can't believe it's already March. It feels like 2026 just began. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with our Certificated Employee of the Month, which is Dr. Marlene Castaneda from Vista Meridian. And here are some words from Mr. Pirano about Dr. C. Dr. C has quickly become one of the most amazing Vista teachers at Meridian, building strong connections with her Spanish 3 and 4 students, along with her social justice elective students who are engaging in deep dialogues about current issues. Aside from her ability to build relationships with students, she has been one of Meridian's biggest cheerleaders. This year, she has been working on getting Meridian a feature on Univision, working on getting a radio advertisement spot, and also all of her connections to get Meridian involved with the Mexican consulate. It is her passion for helping Meridian and the community that will help lead to the future transformation at Vista Meridian. Congratulations, Dr. C. And we will take photos after we go through all of the awards. Next, our classified employee of the month is from Vista Charter Middle School, Mr. Mario Trejo. And this is from Miss Estrada, one of his colleagues. Mr. Trejo has provided a welcoming and safe space for his students to write and voice their opinions about social issues during their ELA classes and also during intervention. This is something he went out of his way to plan and made them or had them create a project in connection with the social issue that they choose to write about. A lot of our students chose to talk about ICE and the raids that have been happening, which can be a sensitive topic. but was handled with care by Mr. Trejo. Congratulations, Mr. Trejo, and I believe that he might be on Zoom at the moment. But congratulations to Mr. Trejo. And for our parents and supporters of the month, we have quite a few that we are thrilled to recognize. And so Paola Valdez, Herminia Prado, Angelica Lendos, Erica Salinas, Maribel Saldivar, and Cecilia Damien. Thank you so much for the work that you do with the Vista Pantry. So this amazing group of Vista parents volunteer their time every single week to feed 200 families through Vista's Pantry, Vista's Food Bank. They work tirelessly to unpack, sort, and distribute produce, canned goods, other foods, and home essentials so other families can have what they need during difficult times. They truly embody the community-oriented mindset that is so important at Vista. Thank you so much. And one final, we have a special recognition for two of our amazing students. So first, I would like to recognize Gael Melchor, a sixth grade student at Palm Lane. And I would also like to recognize Josue Ochoa Castro, a fifth grade student at Vista Condor. Now, these two amazing students did something that, frankly, when I was their age, there was no way I would have been able to do this. They stood up at their respective schools' public hearings for the charter renewal and delivered an extraordinary speech. Gael spoke at the Anaheim Elementary School District board meeting on behalf of Palm Lane's charter renewal. Gael is also the student body president at Palm Lane and is definitely a future leader. So get his autograph now. And Josue presented at the Orange County Board of Education meeting on behalf of Condor's renewal, and I'll talk about Condor's renewal in a little bit. So congratulations and thank you so much for your words and helping your school get renewed, and also for your leadership at your schools. Congratulations. And
Can I just interrupt really quick on that?
absolutely.
So I had to go after Gael at the Palm Lane hearing, and you made it hard on me because you were so good that I couldn't deliver the way you did. So thank you for your speech, and I was at the Condor hearing as well. So thank you also for taking the time to do that and really share that. It means a lot to those elected officials that you were speaking in front of. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yes. And so at this time, I'd like to invite the board up for photos with our amazing staff, students, and parents. All right. Congratulations once again to our amazing students, our amazing staff, and our amazing parents. Thank you for all that you do. As we continue with the superintendent's report, the year-long focus is really expecting excellence at every single level throughout the organization through our strategic plan, and the motto of our strategic plan is getting amped by accelerate learning, moving as one, and paving the path. Next slide, please. Okay. So in the accelerate learning priority, over this past month, our instructional team, our site administrators, our central office instructional team did a number of observations throughout our English language arts classes, and happy to share that out of those observations, 100% of the classrooms organizational wide were using the My View and My Perspectives curriculum. 79% of those classes were within 2 weeks of the pacing calendar, which is also something that's new this year. And there was plenty of evidence of discourse and the use of Kagan structures to enhance learning in most of the classrooms. There also were some areas of opportunity that we saw from that. And so while there were a number of Kagan structures and collaborative learning opportunities, there were also some opportunities that were missed, where there could have been more total participation from our students in reading, writing, talking, and so on. And opportunities to really strengthen those structures. It's one thing to do the structures. It's another thing to really make meaning by using the structures and making sure that everyone is benefiting from that. As we move on to the move as one priority, really the focus here is on the mid-year stakeholder survey. So last Friday was the final day of our stakeholder surveys. Happy to share that we had 680 responses organizational wide. And actually that number is going to go up beyond 700 because just today I got a packet. I think it was like 58 hard copy surveys that we just need to manually enter. So that number is going to go well beyond 700. So thank you to all the parents who responded to the survey. That is in comparison to the 137 responses that we did at the beginning of the year. So I feel like this survey data is more well represented of how our parents are feeling. And so I'm not going to go through all of the bullet points. You can see how the parents responded to each of the survey prompts. And I do want to highlight at the bottom there that in terms of our Net Promoter Score, a whopping 508, a positive 508 score. Again, that is taking the 9s and 10s as positive promoters and subtracting that by the 6s and belows on that last question of how likely you are to recommend your school to others. And you can see that the vast majority of parents put 9s and 10s. So that's definitely a positive. However, we are starting to sort through all of the comments and all of the responses on an individual basis and school by school. And I do want to highlight some of the schools that had extraordinary completion rates. And so I would like to give a shout out to Horizon, Vista Lago, and Palm Lane. Horizon overall as a school had just above a 78% participation rate. Lago had a 73% participation rate, and Palm Lane had a 79% participation rate out of its parents. And specific teachers who are going to receive a pizza party because of their amazing participation rate within the students and parents in their class who went above a 90% participation rate in those classes. So at Horizon, that is Miss Alvarado, Miss Maximo, Miss Olivares, and Miss Huang. At Lago, it is Miss Gutierrez. And at Palm Lane, get ready for it, Miss Bellamy, Miss Hernandez, Miss Johnson, Miss Mom, Miss Ortiz, and I want to give a special shout out to Miss Cahucum, who got 100% of her parents to participate. So amazing job there. I know I was hassling everyone over the last 2 weeks. Parents are probably tired of getting messages from me, but the feedback is so important. We read every single comment and are working with our principals and central teams to make sure that we are taking and listening to your needs, your wants, to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to provide the best educational experience for our students and our parents. Next slide, please. We also had, sorry. We also did the student survey. We did our staff survey and had just under 200 responses from our staff, which again is the majority of our staff, both classified and certificated. I'm not going to go through all of those bullet points again, but overall the Net Promoter Score was a positive 48. You can see the breakdown of the 1 through 10s in terms of how our staff, how likely our staff would be to promote our school. Earlier today, our central office team actually met to discuss this data in relation to the specific questions about our central office and how we can better provide our schools and our staff with support. And just like with the parent data, we just closed the survey on Friday, so we'll be continuing to reach out to our school site teams as we dissect this data. And lastly, our student survey. We had over 1,600 responses out of our 1,800 plus students. So again, a vast majority of our students. And you can see from the bottom there that that overall there was a general positive trend in terms of how likely our students would be to recommend the school to others. And overall, that turned out to be a plus 178 Net Promoter Score. So all of the Net Promoter Scores are positive. Typically and historically, students are usually the most critical. And we also received plenty of responses ranging from school lunches, which is a typical one. But again, we read every single response, just making sure that we are truly hearing out the concerns and the wants of all of our stakeholders. And lastly, as we move to the Pave the Path priority of our strategic plan, we have a few items that have happened over the past month and will happen in the next few days. So first, Vista Charter Middle School and Vista Horizon, our 2 LA schools, had their oversight visits this past month with LUSD. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. They were really applauding the school culture at both schools, the cooperative learning structures, the Kagan structures that we saw across classrooms at both schools, the alignment of the new curriculum that they saw. There was also highlights that they really shouted out our special education program led by Ms. Nahara. And they also shared that fiscally, and I'm going to quote the fiscal specialist, "You're not good, you're great." So that was wonderful to hear. The main area of growth that LAUSD highlighted was with academic achievement, and especially as we approach renewals, focusing on the statistically significant subgroup data, such as long-term English learners and so on, and making sure that those, as well as the entire school populations, are doing well in comparison to the state average, with all students and the state average with each of those same subgroups. So I want to congratulate Dan and Enoch on a wonderful oversight visit and for leading such amazing schools. And lastly, as we pave the path to 5 more years at Vista Condor. Condor has its renewal decision in 2 days at the Orange County Board of Education meeting on Wednesday. Condor has been recommended by the OCDE staff for approval with conditions. And those conditions are in 3 items related to teacher credential compliance, measurable pupil outcomes, and the English learner program implementation. However, we are going to be really pushing and making the case for hopefully getting approval without conditions by the board. Our staff provided OCDE with a response to the staff report, response to those conditions, making that case for why we should be approved without conditions. And that is linked within the superintendent's report if you would like to read that response letter. And that is my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Phelps. We can definitely clap. Yeah. Any discussion questions? Any board member questions?
Yeah, no, so first, just great job getting the numbers up, right? In terms of the stakeholder surveys, that's something that we had discussed before, and so very much appreciate that. 2 things. One's a question and something to consider. You would name that each of the schools, you kind of knew what their response rates were. I was curious what our district-wide response rates were. Doesn't need to be shared, I think, in this report, but as we think about, like, yes, that was a huge increase in numbers, and it shows based upon our student population that we were in the majority, but just keeping track of those just org-wide response rates so we can set a bar and know, because I think the goal should always be to get above 80%, and I know that you made huge increases, so shout out, and I would love to see just the org-wide and then school responses.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the org-wide response rate was 42%.
Okay.
I highlighted the schools that were in the 70s, close to 80s.
Yep.
However, that number is going to go up with the 58 hard copies that we got. So I'm guessing that we're probably going to be around 50%.
That's great. And I just think that one of the things that we found and something to consider, you clearly are already meeting and talking to people and looking at the data, is being transparent with your stakeholders about what you heard.
Absolutely.
What can change because, but also what can't change. Because what you mentioned, the thing about students and food, educating our students about our food program can be really helpful, but also listening to them and their needs, just because we want to make sure that, pizza parties are great and it's important to celebrate, but authentically hearing someone's voice is the key component. And so really just want to shout you out and highlight those while I could. And then again, I think to the school teams, those are incredible parent numbers. And as we think about enrollment and attendance, I would encourage our folks to really leverage their stories and what they have to share and how that's not a normal number. It's great, right? We want a high number, but everything was in the 90s. So using our parents, leveraging our parents and their stories and their enthusiasm for our schools. But again, thank you for that report.
Yeah, thank you.
Go on, anything? What, anything? Yeah, I just want to echo really quickly. I know we put a lot of emphasis on the numbers and wanting to have a robust parent turnout, especially because students you have more in classrooms, you have a chance to get them. So thank you to the staff for that, because we really do care. And, since we're at a public meeting, just the reminder that board is critically believes in public input and student input and parent input and staff input. So keep those numbers coming, and we'll look forward to seeing those numbers continue to grow and build a culture of that kind of response rate. So thank you for all the work on it. I know it takes a lot of work to get there. And then I don't think I have any other comments from them. Okay. So we'll move on to item 3.2. Your principal reports are in the board packet, and I know tonight we have Ms. Prado.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. I am pleased to present this month's principal report just to highlight some key updates from Palm Lane. I don't have any jokes, so I can't say it. You could sing, no? All right. Well, attendance decreased by 2% this past month, primarily due to a significant rise in flu-related illnesses. Many of our affected families have multiple children enrolled, which has extended that recovery period and resulting in longer absences. Enrollment remains steady at 263 students. While there have been minor fluctuations throughout the year, gains and losses have pretty much balanced out. All student disenrollments this year have been due to relocation of our families outside of the county or country, or due to child-related custody circumstances. While enrollment is below our target, where we would want to be at this point in the year, we are actively implementing strategic outreach efforts. Our steering committee and our staff met this past month, and we're developing new creative ways to strengthen connections with prospective families. And I look forward to sharing those plans next month. Next slide. Under LCAP 1 goal, our academic work remains laser focused on accelerating student achievement. Looking at the pictures, it really is highlighting our goals that we've been working on for the past 3 months since we returned from the winter break after doing our deep dive from our Diagnostic 2 data. In mathematics, we are strengthening instruction through intentional use of manipulatives and multiple problem-solving pathways across all grade levels. Students are developing deeper understanding, building greater confidence, and taking courage to take academic risks. The images in the slide deck reflect students actively leading in their learning, confidently explaining their reasoning, and demonstrating their working through their problems. We believe that when students build these skills early on, we will lay the foundation for long-term success in middle school and beyond. In ELA, writing is embedded within our new curriculum within every unit. And so we are seeing really measurable growth in organization, structure, and that evidence-based reasoning. A recent example includes our 4th grade writers who developed persuasive letters and presented them to me, letting me know and advocating for inclusive playground improvements at Palm Lane, which is really nice to see that authentic, rigorous learning plan in action. So I'm excited to be updating that later on what we've done in response to the student letters. We are also closing gaps through precise data-driven small group instruction delivered by both certificated and classified staff. So in addition, family engagement continues to grow with parents actively volunteering on campus and actually supporting in our classrooms on a consistent basis. So it's really nice to see familiar faces coming in every week. Oh, I got to go, Ms. Prado. I'm doing centers with, specific teachers. It's really nice to see them supporting. We're really excited to welcome 3 new interns for the spring from Cal State University Fullerton, and that will expand student support while strengthening our future educator pipeline. Next. Next slide. He's stuck. Right, so moving on to LCAP Goal 2, our commitment to professional growth remains strong and intentional. We partner with Attune partners to conduct those ELA instructional walkthroughs, strengthening calibration and just aligning what we saw around high quality teaching practices. We also welcomed OCDE to Palm Lane to provide targeted professional development, which was focused on accelerating support for English learners and resulting in clear next steps across grade levels. I'm happy to share that tomorrow I will be attending a community-based learning lab hosted by OCDE alongside my community coordinator, my counselor, and a teacher leader. And we are going to be participating as a team to make sure that we are in alignment as we deepen culturally responsive practices, elevating our student voice, and expanding real-world learning connections. Additionally, attending the CCSA conference with other VISTA leaders and attending carefully selected workshops. So those are the workshops that I attended. With my community coordinator was really especially impactful because we wanted to gain actionable strategies that we can take with us to Palm Lane to strengthen our recruitment efforts through website enhancements, strategic use of social media, and we're now working with our IT to implement targeted improvements that we learned. And then finally, after attending a session by the Lean In Girls organization, I'm happy to share that Palm Lane will be launching a 10-week pilot with our 4th and 5th grade girls focused on building confidence, perseverance, and leadership skills in partnership with our counselor. Next slide. Under LCAP Goal 3, our commitment to family and community partnership continues to thrive. This past month, our campus was filled with vibrant celebrations that strengthen culture, connection, and belonging. Our Lunar New Year rally, led by Student Council, brought energy and purpose to campus through games, cultural learning, and a fun and spirited dragon dance. It definitely was not your typical school rally. The students learned about the wishing tree, and they were invited to display in the front office their wish. So as you can see, there's our tree there that is in our front office right now, which really became a powerful symbol of student voice and hope. All of our students and staff were invited to contribute their own messages and wishes and intentions for the new year, and which created a vibrant display that reflects their dreams and goals at Palm Lane. We also hosted a Black History Month showcase featuring student work across all grade levels. And the photos that you see highlight special moments of interactive learning as our 6th graders stepped into leadership last Friday. They invited different classes to circulate through their classrooms, at which students were able to present to students across all grade levels and staff, which is really nice to see them demonstrating confidence, mentorship, and just pride in their learning. Next slide. So last week, our Palm Lane community, we came together to celebrate our Lunar New Year Literacy Night. It was a really fun opportunity for our families to engage in various literacy-based activities in every classroom. They were able to learn about our signature practice, way of counsel. They were able to see students showcase work in art, and we had a special visit from Anaheim Public Library. All of our students received free books. It was a wonderful evening filled with learning, celebration, and community connection, and we're really grateful to the families. And just to be able to see our families disconnect from the busyness of work and extracurricular activities and commitments, and just for them to have fun together was really nice to see. Next slide. Palm Lane was also proud to host its 2nd Community School Steering Committee meeting, bringing together students, families, and staff for a focused and productive hour of collaboration. You can see our student council, Gael, working with me. Together, we just reflected on the community school cycle, and we clarified our shared vision at Palm Lane. We identified key assets and needs at Palm Lane. So we provided our students who were part of this committee with special prompts, things to think about, and we asked them to circulate throughout, their classes and trying to get a pulse of student voice and to bring that back. So it was really nice to see them take that very seriously and to be committed in the goals that we set as a team. And so we look forward to continuing and moving our work towards this purpose. Next step. And then I just like to publicly thank our coaches, Brian and Ann, for their just consistent guidance and support. With my role, it often pulls me away in so many different directions, but it's really nice to know that our teachers have steady, high quality coaching that they can, count on to be there every single week. And, their work with our teachers and building their instruction is really impacting the student achievement at Palm Lane. Next slide. And then just as we close, we're excited to continue to promote our family fitness nights through the rest of the school year. So daylight savings time is going to give us a little bit more light. And so we want to take advantage of that, bringing our families in together, to play together, to have fun together. And so we welcome anybody who wants to come. In March, we are going to have a March Madness basketball fun between our adults and our students. And we also have an exciting performance tomorrow, our Conga Kid Partnership. They will be performing a jazz performance after school. So we invite everybody to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Questions, comments from the board? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so much appreciation. And because I saw you at the CCSA conference, and I really, really appreciate you outlining like specifically what you're going to do. And I'm so excited. I didn't get to go to the the big impact, closing the confidence gap with Lean and Girls, but I'm so
Mhm.
excited that you did that. And you said you're starting the partnership?
I am going to start the 10
Oh,
week.
that's incredible. Looking forward to hearing that and supporting
Thank
any
you.
way we can.
So thank you for the report. Your reports gives a good flavor of what's happening at the school. I really appreciate that. I saw you in one of the CCSA conferences for the enrollment piece, and it's good to hear that you guys are coming back and implementing that. What was one of the takeaways that you think that you'll implement in the enrollment piece as far as the website? It looks like the website's one place, and then is that discussion happening system-wide or just at Palm Lane?
I already told Colin that I learned so much that next day. It was really enlightening just to see, not just to hear it, but we were able to see different schools' websites of companies that, different schools they've worked for. What I learned was the power of just a still photo, which is something we're always like, let's get the video. And maybe we waste too much time working on making it perfect. We looked at the authentic piece of like getting kids when they're just happy and when they are just laughing, and how telling that could be. What we did on this past Friday as part of our professional development, I actually did a reflective, like, let's just take a look at what we see. So I shared what I learned with my staff, and we went through each communication platform of all of our teachers. We actually just like went through each class just to like not a gotcha, just like what are we seeing? Where is there consistency? Where could we do better? I thought it was really important just to get my teachers to see, because so much of their pictures come from them because they're in the grind with the students, and just to really have that lens on like how a picture can be really powerful versus maybe always focusing on finding the picture, finding the perfect video, but how to just see. One of the key things we learned is that it's not so much about writing your school's mission vision, but just to show the words and pictures, and where do you see that. So it was really reflective on us, like, oh, we could do better. So that's what we're going to be working on over the next month or two, to make sure that our websites are telling the stories we want it to tell.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, and I also just want to thank all the principals. I know Debbie's Principal Prado is up here tonight, but we read your reports, are in the public record. I think we do a good job in this organization of really seeing a flavor of what's happening at your sites. I know it's just a flavor, but it's really important to me because it is really, if you look at this report, similar to what you were saying, it's visual. I can see some of the events that are taking place, some of the images of what's happening, and then it corresponds to the words for me. So it's been great. And also thank you for all the work on the attendance piece. I know that's been a struggle. I appreciate you've been kind of piloting some of the stuff we've been doing with software. And I think it's pretty exciting to see the growth and the ability to keep focus on the attendance and enrollment. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Sarwat.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prado. Yeah, it was quite an excellent presentation and very colorful. And I really enjoyed, especially on the real world connection, redefining learning, and all the events that you did on Black History Month, bringing the Lunar New Year. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, just wanted to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And yeah, and thank you for inviting me to I think you invited the entire board to the lunar celebration, and, keep it doing that. And for the other principals, I couldn't make it. It was my birthday, so I didn't make it. But I really do appreciate the invites because I pop them into my calendar if I can. So I'd love to see it happening. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to 3.3, the icon report. No, sure, you're not gonna have Dan do the report tonight?
Sorry?
You're not gonna have Dan do the step?
He barely walked in, so no, he's not ready. You guys will get to see him later. All right. Good evening, board, staff members, and public. Today, so we're going to cover a couple of things. There we go. We're going to do the LA school second interims, and then we're going to go over the January 2026 financials for the rest of the schools. And when we come back in a couple of weeks, you'll see the Orange County and Riverside school second interims. Starting off with the second interim budgets, as they are an action item for you later today. First is the middle school. So when you look at the middle school, we didn't make any adjustments to ADA, and that's great for the middle school as their ADA through their sixth statistical month was about 330, so slightly above what we had at the first interim. So we felt pretty confident kind of keeping that 329 there. There were a couple of adjustments that were made. One was by the state, so they did a prior year adjustment on LCFF earlier in the year. We captured a part of it the first interim, and we just made sure to capture the rest of it here at the second interim. The other big adjustment is I overcorrected on the nutrition. We talked about that a couple months ago, and that the trend through October was pretty high. They were able to get it back online. So the trend line now through January is in much better spot. So I was able to adjust both on the revenue side for nutrition, on the expenditure side for nutrition as well. Staffing stayed pretty much flat to what we had before. As I mentioned, we did adjust nutrition. We did have to make a couple of small increases to supplies and on capital equipment. So it offset a little bit of the nutritional savings. And then in the 5,000 series, repairs continue to be a little bit higher than expected this year and what it's been historically. So we did have to increase that a bit, as well as some communication costs. So overall, revenues came down, primarily driven by that prior year adjustment by CDE. So the net income did drop to negative 204, but unrestricted fund balance is still projected to be positive at the end of the year by 135,000. So the reason it's negative is you're utilizing a lot of restricted funds received from prior year.
Arturo, can I ask real quick, what's a communication cost?
Internet, telephone.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, Vista Horizon. So for Vista Horizon, we did have to make an adjustment to the ADA. So we dropped it almost 488 points. And that's driven by the fact that through the sixth statistical month, they're about 155.6. When we get to the January financials, you'll see more specific what that month 6 number was. So we felt more comfortable being conservative and kind of bringing that number down. So due to that lower ADA number, it does lower your LCFF about $59,000. Now, the tricky thing here, or kind of the little bit of a fake story, not fake story, but you're getting a lot of funds this year that they're going to be able to utilize through the 28-29 school year, primarily being their literacy grant, which they're helping to fund their intervention coordinator. So that grant's $450,000. All of that revenue shows up this school year. So we have to recognize it this school year. But it's good through the 2028-29 school year. So that's that big $503,000 number, the increase. Another portion of that is the student support and professional development grant for this year, which is about $40,000 for Horizon. And that is for PD primarily, but that's also good through the 28-29 school year. So a lot of funds kind of just show up at once, but we'll be utilizing them later on. So that's the big increase in total revenues at 444. When you look at the expenditure side, we had a couple of big increases in the 5,000 series. The biggest one is tutoring for after school, but that's utilizing ELOP funds that they've had and we're carrying from prior years. So it kind of offsets. And then we did have to increase textbooks due to like additional science kits that were, as it didn't have any science kits. So that's that primary 22,000. The other piece is SPED. So Horizon has had a large increase in their student SPED population. And so we did have to increase their vendor as that trend line has increased quite a bit. So expenditures went up 173,000. Even though the net income looks much brighter now than it did at first interim, with the lower ADA and those additional costs outside of the tutoring kind of gets covered by ELOP, the unrestricted fund balance dropped. And that's because those costs are coming out of your current unrestricted fund balance. That additional positive income you're going to carry on your balance sheet as restricted funds to utilize over the next 3 school years. Questions on the first interims before I move on?
Just about the science kits, are those reusable or are they like per kid, each curriculum?
I would defer that to the principal.
The science kit, this is for hands-on activity.
Got it.
We purchased for 5th grade because they're going to do the state test, and we purchased for 3rd grade so they can start learning and be able to put those standards and experiment hands-on activities. So we purchased for 3rd grade, 4th grade had them from last year.
Got it. And so we'll be able to use the 3rd grade. Okay. That's wonderful though. Got it. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to the January 2026 financials. So starting off with the middle school, most of these numbers are reflected in the first interim, but enrollment continues to be pretty steady at 356. Attendance rate dropped in, this is January, but it's really the sixth fiscal month, which is kind of the middle of January through the middle of February. So I want to be clear on that because as we go through the other schools, you'll notice for some schools it's a very tough month, primarily driven by illness. So for that month specifically, for the middle school, the ADA was 327.36, but the average across since the beginning of the year was at 330, so still kind of above. I do want to point out, so I mentioned the student support and professional development grant. So schools are receiving that this year to utilize through 28-29 school year. The governor proposed an additional one for next school year. That's going to be based off of this year's P2 ADA. That'll then be good through June of 2030. And currently, the funding rate's estimated to be about $512, which is $200 more per ADA than the current grant is. So there's going to be some additional kind of PD money hopefully coming in next year. So just as a heads up, and that's going to help out all of the schools since now they all have ADA this year, versus the current grant doesn't help out Vista Lago since they had no ADA in the prior 24-25 school year. Balance sheet for the middle school is healthy, as it's one of your healthiest school sites with plenty of days cash on hand. Revenue, in January, they received about $430,000 in revenue, majority of that being LCFF, a little bit in federal, a little bit in other state, but year to date, they received 55% of their total revenues projected. Last time I mentioned that their SB 740 was delayed. It came in as well with the second apportionment, so kind of back on track with that. And they also received their big chunk of the community schools grant. So it's $250 for the year. They got $225, and most of the schools got that as well. In January, they had expenditures of over $500,000, majority of that being salary and benefits. And year to date, they're about 56% of projected expenses. So right kind of where they're expected to be. But this is reflected on the second interim, so kind of why it's aligned with the balance sheet. Vista Heritage, so they unfortunately continue to drop on enrollment. So that sixth fiscal month ended them at 351 students. And their ADA continues to stay pretty consistent, so at 92%. So it's a drop of enrollment that's really unfortunately driving their lower ADA. So for that 6 month, it was 325.45, which is a significant difference from where we were at beginning of the year, as well as the first interim. So we're going to make a big adjustment at the second interim, which you'll see in a couple of weeks, but want to kind of give that as a heads up. Cash on hand is about 99 days currently. Their revenue for January, so they received $257,000. No federal revenue. Federal revenue comes in usually once a quarter, aside from nutritional reimbursements, and we hadn't received reimbursement yet in January. So that's why it's zero for that. Year to date, they're at 57% of their total projected revenue. You see that big jump on the graph because they didn't get their SB 740, but they got it, so we kind of offset there. On the expenditure side, they had just under $600,000 of expenses, majority of that being salary and benefits and operating, which includes the bond payments. Overall, they're at 50% of projected expenses, so kind of right aligned where they need to be at this point in the year. Vista Condor is the strength of all your campuses. So their enrollment continues to stay steady or grow. They went up to 377. Their ADA percentage was much lower in the 6th month, but I think that's primarily driven by illnesses. But there's a fiscal month at the 6th month, 340. But overall, month 1 through month 6, they're actually about 4 ADA points above where we estimated at the first interim. So I'm planning to keep their ADA for the second interim at the same on the conservative end, but they're in a very good, healthy spot. And likewise on their balance sheet and cash on hand of over 190 days. Revenue, they received just under $700,000 at the end of January. Similar to Heritage, they didn't get any of their NSOP reimbursements yet, so that's why federal is at 0 and are at 60% of their total projected revenues. When you see that big number for December, in terms of revenue above what was expected, that is their literacy grant. So they're getting over $537,000 of literacy funds for the following year, as well as their $225,000 in their community schools for the year, and they got their SB 740 delayed. So that's that big jump there. In terms of expenses, so about $550,000 in January, majority of that being, salary and benefits and operating. You see the operating is pretty similar to Heritage because of their bond payments for the facility. Overall, they're right at 58%, so kind of tight to where you expect them to be, but the fact that they have additional 88 points, I think, puts them in a nice, comfortable spot. Vista Horizon, so their enrollment has stayed steady, but they had a big drop off in that 6 month, about 86% ADA. So that really drove their ADA number down on that overall average, as the 6 month was 145 ADA points. And so that's why we, as I mentioned earlier, for first interim, we decided to lower their ADA quite a bit by those 4 points. And their days cash on hand is over 160 days, so good spot on the balance sheet. In January, they received over $700,000 in revenues, majority of that being other state, which was their literacy grant funding. So they got it a month later than Condor did. But year to date, they're at 59% of their total projected revenues. On the expenditure side, they had $230,000 expenses. So they're about 53% of projected expenses. So they're really healthy. They got some catching up to do. They want to utilize all of their expenditures. Palm Lane. So Palm Lane enrollment has stayed pretty steady. I had it at 262 at the end of their sixth fiscal month, but they did have a rough 88 percentage down to 89%, and 233 being their ADA for that month. So we are going to be looking to probably make an adjustment for their overall ADA because their 6 month ADA is also trending down. But their cash on hand is the strongest out of all of the campuses. Revenue, $435,000 in January. Again, mostly LCFF, no reimbursement yet, so that's why it's zero from federal. On the expenditure side, $360,000, majority of that being salary and benefits. Vista Meridian, unfortunately, their enrollment continues to trend down. They lost another 6 kids, landed about 234, 236, and they had a rough 6 month as well in terms of 88 percentage. So down to 89% and 212 for the 6 month. We are looking to adjust their ADA down for the second interims. Probably can come down about 6 points in terms of kind of where they've been trending since October. On the revenue end, they got $647,000, nothing in the federal. Most of that at state, so they received their community schools grant and they got their SB 740 that was delayed from November. On the expenditure side, they had $388,000 in the month of January, and they're currently at 62% projected expenses, but they had an earlier payment to the CMO fee, so I think that's covering a good portion of that. Vista Lago, so good story here. Their enrollment continues to grow. They're at 114. Their 88 percentage has been pretty steady at about 92%. So in the 6 month, at 103 ADA, their highest of the year. I'm pretty confident they're going to hit their first interim ADA number that we had. So if you remember, we had it at 91, and at that point, they're about 83. Right now, my most recent estimate has them about 92, 93 for the year. So they're going to kind of come above what we had at the first interim. I'm planning not to change the ADA for the second interim, so that if you do come above, then it's, makes it look positive more at the end of the year. I don't have their cash on hand because I caught a couple of discrepancies that I wanted to verify before I shared out, but I'll make sure I have that for you at the next board meeting. Revenue. So as a new school, they don't receive a lot of funds, so they only received their middle college grant. They came in January, which they, are the lead in a alliance within the school. Their next payment is supposed to come in February, March, so that should be coming in soon. On the expenditure side, about $180,000, majority of that being salary and benefits. Books and supplies continues to kind of remain high from where we had budgeted, so we'll be most likely updating that at the end of for the second interim, as they're currently at 66% of their projected expenses.
Can I ask you a question on Lago?
Yep.
Do the expenses, the capital expenses for the facility, are they embedded in here or are they in a different fund? For like the portable or like in the
So the rentals currently in the portables, there's rental payments, and that is incorporated in here. Some of the setup fees as well are in the current year budget. We are looking whether anything that's larger to capitalize out over five years.
So would we see that anywhere yet, or would that be?
So you would be in the balance sheet for anything that's not in your current year expenditures.
Okay.
Last is the home office. So this is going to get adjusted on the revenue side, as I've been mentioning throughout the conversation that some schools I'm going to be lowering their ADA number. So that's going to lower their LCFF revenue. So their total projection for their CMO fee payments from the schools, as it is a percentage, is going to come down. So I'll be updating that for you at the next board meeting as well, as I finish those ADA adjustments for the other schools. And then your outstanding checks over 50 days and your regular check register. Any other questions?
Just a general question. I know about like cash on hand, but if you were to say like a school is super healthy when they have X above cash on hand, they're doing pretty good with this many days of cash on hand. It's really concerning when they have this or less.
Yeah. So you definitely want to have over 30 days cash on hand as you get monthly payments from the state. Any school that has more than 90, I think, is in a extremely healthy spot.
Okay.
With a couple of your schools over 100, 300, like they can weather a lot.
Got it.
That can change depending on the state's financial position, because if they enact deferrals, then that's where, you know, more cash on hand, days on hand, will be in a better position.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
We're not hearing anything at state level on deferrals,
Currently, no.
right?
No.
Okay. Yes, sir. Any other questions for Juan?
Yeah, I got a question. For the attendance rate, you have the budgeted attendance rates being very consistent, right? And it looks like for most of the school in January, people are getting sick, so it drops. But does it make sense to have a?
So the attendance rate's a set number because it is the average daily attendance. So that's why it's on the line graph, in the bar graph, it's straight across. But we understand that there's dips and valleys to it. So even though January was a big impact, you know, we looked at, okay, is it a one time? Is it driven primarily by illness? Or, you know, is enrollment also going to adjust that moving forward? So when I'm looking at my estimates, I look at overall from month 1 through month 6, you know, they're still averaging around 92%, then they're, you know, kind of on track.
Yeah, so if you average it out, then I guess you're expecting maybe like September to offset
Correct.
January, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and typically we see kind of like a V if you're looking at a line graph throughout the year where the lowest months are the winter months like January, and then we start to, as we go into spring, we see higher attendance rates.
This year has been unique for Vista, primarily driven by the enrollment loss that's happened between since the beginning of the school year, because usually between the first interim and second interim, we tweak ADA, but there are a couple of schools that were making, you know, more significant impacts to ADA versus just tweaking it.
Because the enrollment is dipping.
Correct.
Versus where we have been, where we've had some growth.
Because even though you're
somewhere.
keeping a 92, 93% ADA, your current enrollment,
Your
when you
enrollment's
average it
better.
out, it's going to drop the overall ADA number versus just a normal illness drop.
Yeah, and a question that's related to the enrollment on the budget piece. How, and Debbie mentioned this in her principal's report, but how do we track the disenrollments? Where's that data held in the organization? And do we have it by, I mean, do we have by student with codes that we then aggregate that information for the school and then for the district?
Yeah, we've been tracking that at the school site level. So when a student disenrolls, we do ask what the reason is.
Do we roll it up? Do we have like the capacity to roll it up into a spreadsheet or a database?
Altogether, we can. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be super valuable for us to be tracking the trends on, like I mentioned, Debbie mentioned the ones she had for her school where she was tracking it. I know some of that information is not perfect because what the student tells you may or may not necessarily be the case. But then with the CUMES following, right, you do start to get a sense of where they're actually landing because you have to send the CUME. So some of that information would be valuable to have over time, I think. Okay. Okay, any other questions? No?
Thank you.
Okay, now we are moving along to the action items. So first action item is 4.1, conference attendance costs not to exceed 2,000 to include travel for intensive intervention institute in San Diego. Any further comments on that?
Yeah, so this is for Dr. Simmons, our director of instruction, and our intervention coordinators to attend the intervention conference. This is later in June and would be using some remaining educator effectiveness funds to fund this. But there is no cost for the registration, so it would really just be the travel there and hotels.
Great. I'll take a motion.
A motion.
A second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. I'll ask for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, that any against? Okay, that passes 4-0. Moving on to 4.2, the conference for the AI Summit in Anaheim. Dr. Felch.
Yep. So this is for 6 of our central staff and 2 staff at Condor and Heritage to attend a local AI summit in Anaheim. There is no cost incurred. It is local and one-day thing, and to learn more about AI.
Great. Motion. Is there a motion?
A motion.
A second?
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? I just will make a quick comment on the AI summit. You know, a lot of the stuff that I looked at the conference was related also to artificial intelligence, and I know we have a policy on it. I know that there are schools that are starting to move ambitiously both on the structural side for the operations side and the instructional side, and I know it's a lot of work for the organization, but I'll just say that I'm glad that you're all participating in this. I took a look at the conference agenda and looked through a number of the speakers that are speaking and what they're talking about, and I think it's really important that we stay on top of this because it's going to move quickly. So I'm excited to go into this. Anything else? Okay, call for a vote. All in favor? Oh, go ahead, Juan.
For the summit, are you going to, I guess, go to the summit, take some learnings, document it, and come back and apply?
Yeah, so we're really going to try to explore, just see what's out there, see what type of things we might be able to take advantage of. And in addition to this, we are planning on asking teachers this month who might be interested in participating in an AI task force. So that way we can, in addition to the central staff that are going to this, teachers that might have an interest in learning more at to how they might be able to integrate AI in their classrooms.
Great.
More of a question. Is it a 1-day or 2-day conference?
So it's a 2-day. It includes the weekend, but we're probably just going to go on Friday.
Okay. I'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Moving on to 4.3. This is the ratification of the interim budgets that Arturo just shared with us. I don't think we need anything more. Take a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that carries 4-0. Moving on to 4.4, local assignment authorization for Anthony Ramos. Dr. Phillips.
Yes, so Mr. Ramos is a single subject social studies teacher. However, throughout the course of the year, there was an opening at Meridian in the English language arts line, and there was a need for that based on an extended leave. And so based on that, we started to move Mr. Ramos in a long-term subcapacity into this English language arts line. And during that time, because we can only have that him in that role for 30 days as a 30-day sub. And so over the past month or so, we have been doing observations, coaching, reviewing lesson plans, and student work. And I want to give credit to Dr. Simmons and Mr. McTaggart, our ELA coach, for doing a lot of these observations, and also Ms. Young and Mr. Pirano. And as a result, we feel confident in him continuing with this ELA class throughout or ELA classes throughout the rest of the school year. This is not a long-term thing that we're looking at. We're really just looking at for the rest of this school year. But we do feel confident, but we need board approval in order to do so.
Yeah, and just can you allude to the board approval, just reminder for us what if weren't approved or if it is approved, what that means organizationally. Yes. I think we have a legal a legal allowance based on the board making approval, which then changes the position designation.
That is correct. So the board approving this special local authorization essentially means that based on his credential being in a different area, he is still allowed only within Vista to teach in this case an ELA teaching line based on our work with him, that we feel like he is doing right by kids in that line.
Okay, great. I'll look for a motion.
I motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Questions?
No, I really appreciate the documentation that you all provided, right? It's clear that, in my opinion, right, it seems like this is a good recommendation based upon the evidence of what we're seeing, right? And so a question is, so for this, for Mr. Ramos, is this something that, so I know we're approving for short term to the end of the semester. It says that the teacher that is going on maternity leave may or may not come back. What would happen if that teacher does come back?
So we do actually have, and again, Mr. Perano, please correct me. So we do actually have an additional substitute in another ELA line in addition to the leave. So we have the leave as well as another substitute. So if the teacher were to come back, we also have another English substitute teaching position.
Thank you.
Correct, Mr. Prano? Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That passes 4-0. All right. The next one is 4.5 Silva Auditor Engagement Agreement. Dr. Felch, anything?
Yeah. So we've used the same auditor, Silva & Silva, for a while. And ICON has also recommended that we continue with them. And so we would love to continue with them for the 26 and 27 audit. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
A motion?
Second.
Okay. Questions, discussion? I have a couple.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
So how long have you been using Silva & Silva?
As long as I can remember, Dan might know. And Dan, Dan, can you come to the mic?
By the way, my name is Daniel Lee from ICON. So I think we using Silva & Silva about the coming year is going to be fifth year. Fifth.
15?
Yeah, 5. And then as a rule, as the PCAOB, I mean, we change the auditor for managing partner every 3 years. So they've been changed after 4 years, managing partner, review partner. So we've been reviewed by different partners, same firm. There's no rule that we have to change the auditor every 6 years, but we try to consider it as a bit like every 6 years, but to make sure that we change the auditor, the main partner, if it's the same firm every 3 years, we comply with it. There's no edit code that we have to change the auditor. Only my recommendation to Silva & Silva, based on I'm dealing with a lot of different auditor. I used to be auditor, but a lot of auditor actually not really focus on charter school audit anymore because they've been merging a lot of different firms that is that they prioritize in district first and push it back to the charter school audit and extend it a lot. So I make sure that our audit is going to be on time. It's not really secondary. I mean, not prioritized on the audit. Like, so that's the only reason Silva & Silva is not really a big company that they can prioritize charter school audit, but same time they have a good experience with a 3 partner that we can rotate it every 3 years.
And do we explore like other auditors as well?
No, this time I'm not recommended it to the bidding. Probably 6 years, the year that we kind of going to the bid for the three, probably another two company coming with the Seva and Seva, just to make sure that price range that we are in the right the price, and also anything else that we can see more in this different set of eye that we make a decision on it. But we already been changed the partner, the main partner for Seva and Seva, and get audited in different set of eyes that we didn't see anything. And especially they are so efficiency because a lot of conjunction with our bonds too. They know that like probably a few more years of history that what they have to look into it. So I kind of next 2 years I'll probably stick with if there's any issue with auditor that I definitely change. I recommend to change, but at this point that we didn't see any issue with the last couple of years with the communication wise audit report, and then also this report is the review by the state, the California state. And then the audit department that we got accepted, there's no denial for entire 4 years. So quality of our services to be getting from Seva and Seva, that we stick with it. But definitely 6 years that you can see under the proposal, just make sure that we can actually got right price range for the auditor to be select.
Yeah, this is more of a statement, right? So for me, like if you use the same auditors, you get used to this process, right? And so it becomes routine.
That's
So
correct.
sometimes it's good to have a different auditor come in and have a different eye on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
I just quick comment. I would like to see if we can have the auditor present the results next year. Either it can be by Zoom, doesn't have to be necessarily in person, but it would be great to have some contact with the board. You know, one of the most important things I think we track on the board is the financial well-being and how our processes and systems work. And I haven't seen that happen yet for us. So if we can make a note of that, and I think, you know, again, if it's Zoom, I don't think we'll incur any additional cost from the contract. It didn't look like there was any prohibition from it. And I know that happens. Okay. Any other? Okay, so I'll take a vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that passes 4-0. All right, we made it to the board comments. I will, why don't I start on my left tonight? Juan, any comments?
I don't have any comment.
Okay, thanks. Michael?
No major comments besides gratitude for, I think, Colin, this goes to you. It was really special. Thank you for inviting myself, Miles, and I know you extended it to the board to attend the CCSA conference, but to see the Vista family there and like in attendance and like supporting that, we got to continue to push ourselves to learn for our communities. And so thank you, Deb, for sharing what you had taken back. And I think the more that we can do that, though, especially when we're spending money on some conferences, I think it's a really good idea, but also just making sure that we are taking our learning and implying it. So, I mean, inputting it. And so, thank you all. And yeah, that's it for my comments.
Thank you. Swat, anything?
Yeah, just thank you. Yeah, this was really my first board meeting. So yeah, appreciate Colin preparing the whole package and also for the excellent presentations from the principal report and the financial report, and yeah, to learn about the auditing process as well. So yeah, thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure today to learn from you all.
Okay, well, yeah, and my comments, I just want to first thank you and welcome you to the board. Thank you for being here. It's great to have you on the board and have you one meeting down. We only have one more meeting this month. A little bit odd. We've got 2 in February, but thank you. And then I just wanted to take a couple seconds and say, phew, February was busy. And I was able to witness a number of things during February, some of the work that was underway at all of our schools in all of our counties, Orange County, Los Angeles, Riverside. And the experience of seeing what you're doing out at the sites and doing those visits, you know, it continues to deepen my appreciation for all of the work that you're all doing and what we're doing together. But it also reinforces my role on the board as the urgency that we have in front of us to keep deepening that impact with students. So I really just wanted to thank you all for that. And I just would tell you the things that I was going to mention some of the thank yous I have for this month, because I got to see some great things. I was out at Vista Charter Middle School twice. I got to see the program in operation on my own, and then I got to go back the next week and see it in operation during our LA Unified oversight visit. And it's great to see. I'm always impressed when the staff, how they were able to manage the front door with the oversight visit, everybody coming and going, just their ease of being able to handle all of the changes and all that tight. The site's a little bit tight, right? And so entry and exit and all the students moving around and all the 10 people of us moving from classroom to classroom, and it was a lot. So it was a great experience to be out there for that. I also got out to Horizon. Thank you very much. We got to celebrate Earth Day. I have a great picture with all the students, and the culture that is being built at that site, the happiness on the students and the staff's faces is something that is really great. And again, you can look at our facility there and you can understand it's kind of a split facility for us in some ways, and it's hard to manage that every day. But the staff seems to be able to handle that well, and you can just see the pride that they had on their faces, and you can see the students with their smiles on their faces. Some of those static images that Ms. Prado was talking about that are great. So thank you for that. I also got to go to the Vista Condor public hearing for the Orange County Board of Ed, and Josue's left now, but just seeing our students that are in elementary school speaking in front of the public, in front of the board, when that's a pretty intimidating thing. And he handled it with great class and did a great job, as well as our presentation was done very well, and showed our relationship with the Orange County Board of Ed. And I'm excited to see the upcoming Wednesday approval, knowing that I feel, knock on wood, that we're going to do okay there. But anyway, so thank you for that. And then I think the last thing I would just mention is the CCSA conference. I found it very valuable as well. I learned a little bit more about governance. I thought I knew quite a bit, but I learned more in a pre-conference. I also got to attend 2 of the presentations that our staff put on and shared with the rest of the community some of the things we did. It was super exciting. Alyssa's presentation with our consultants showing how to get a facility up and running, and with a timeline that is almost impossible. We didn't have your presentation, we didn't have you there at that moment, but just knowing all of the work you went through to work with Alyssa and to make that work was pretty amazing. And it, I think, will be an inspiration to a lot of other schools that were in the room. And then the instructional leadership team was in the other presentation, and seeing them conduct council in a whole group was really fun. And it was good to see people. I could see all the brains clicking from the people that were sitting around the circle or standing in the circle and talking about our council and how that was going, and just talking about how culture is intentional. And so it makes me really proud of what you all could not only do on the site every day, which sometimes goes unnoticed, unfortunately, but you were able to share with your peers. And I think your peers can see that Vista has some really great things going on. So sorry it took a long time, but I thought it was worth that. Busy February for me means that you guys were doing, 100% more, or more and more and more. I only did a little, you did a lot. So I just wanted to mention all of those things. So thank you very much. And I'll close the board comments with that. And then we're going to adjourn to closed session. We'll be back. I often say you can come back if you want, but I don't think you'll all be here. But have a great night. If you don't come back, and we'll come back and do the formal journal after closed session and report out any reportable items. Okay. Thank you. Have a great night. Okay, it is 7:37 and I will reconvene us out of closed session. I will note that we have a quorum. We have 3 of us here, 1 member left. So we have Surat, Michael and Miles in attendance. And I said it was at 7:37. And so we have nothing to report out of closed session tonight. There are no reportable actions. And I will take a motion to adjourn.
I motion.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, we will adjourn.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes 3-0, and we will call it a night at 7:37. We are adjourned. Our next meeting is
3 weeks.
March 23rd. Thank you.